In life, we often face seasons of hardship, trials, and challenges that seem overwhelming. During these times, it can be hard to understand why we're going through what we're going through. We may feel frustrated, confused, or even abandoned. But what we must remember is that God uses challenges to strengthen us. Every trial we face is not a random occurrence. Rather, it is part of God's refining process. A process that prepares us for greater blessings, deeper character, and a stronger faith. God never promised that life would be without struggles. In fact, He told us in John 16:33, "In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world." While difficulties are inevitable, God assures us that He is with us through them all. He walks beside us, offering strength, wisdom, and grace every step of the way. The key to navigating challenges is not to avoid them, but to face them with faith and trust that God is using them to shape us. Think about the process of refining gold. The gold must be put through intense heat to remove impurities and to reveal its true value. Similarly, we as children of God are often refined through trials. These challenges push us beyond our limits, but they also build endurance, patience, and character. The Bible reminds us in Romans 5:3-4, not only so, but we also glory in our sufferings, because we know that suffering produces perseverance, character, and character, hope. Each challenge we face molds us into the person God has created us to be. It's through these difficult times that our faith grows stronger, our trust in God deepens, and our understanding of His power and goodness becomes more real. There's also a spiritual growth that takes place during tough times. Trials reveal what's truly in our hearts. In moments of pressure, our weaknesses and fears may surface, but so too can our strength and resilience. When we are faced with obstacles, we are given an opportunity to rely more on God's grace and less on our own strength. It's through the challenges that we learn to lean into God's promises and experience His faithfulness in a way we wouldn't otherwise. Sometimes it's not just about us either. God allows challenges in our lives not only to grow us, but also to equip us to help others. Our testimonies of overcoming adversity can become a powerful source of encouragement for others who are going through similar struggles. When we face trials and come out the other side with a deeper trust in God, we become living examples of His faithfulness and power. Ultimately, we need to remember that the challenges we face are not meant to break us, but to build us. God doesn't want us to remain stuck in a place of pain or frustration. He wants to move us forward, to grow us, and to lead us into a future filled with purpose and victory. Every trial, every hardship is an opportunity for God to reveal His strength in us. And as we trust Him through these times, we can be confident that He is shaping us into the person He intends for us to become. So instead of resenting the challenges, let's choose to embrace them, knowing that they are part of God's process of refining, strengthening, and preparing us for something greater. In our journey of faith, one of the greatest challenges we face is choosing faith over fear. Life has a way of presenting us with uncertainties, obstacles, and situations that make us question the future. The unknown can be daunting, and in those moments, it's easy to let fear take hold. Fear can paralyze us, keep us stuck, and rob us of peace and joy. But when we choose faith over fear, we are choosing to trust that God is in control, even when everything around us feels uncertain. The Bible tells us in Timothy 1:7, "For God gave us a spirit not of fear, but of power and love and self-control." This verse reminds us that fear is not from God. He has given us a spirit of power, love, and self-control. Fear, on the other hand, seeks to hold us back, to limit our potential, and to keep us from stepping into the fullness of what God has for us. But when we choose faith, we activate the power that God has already placed within us. Faith empowers us to move forward even when we don't know all the details, because we know that God is with us and will guide us every step of the way. Faith and fear cannot coexist. When fear creeps in, it can feel overwhelming, but that's when we must actively choose to replace it with faith. Faith is not the absence of fear, but the decision to trust God even in the face of it. It's the belief that God is bigger than our circumstances, that He is in control, and that He has a plan for our lives even when we don't understand the why or the how. It's the assurance that His promises are true and that He will never leave us nor forsake us. There will always be moments in life when we are faced with fear. Maybe it's the fear of failure, the fear of the unknown, or the fear of not measuring up. But in those moments, we must remember that God's perfect love casts out all fear. 1 John 4:18. The more we focus on God's love, on His faithfulness, and on His promises, the smaller our fears become. When we remind ourselves that God is with us, that He is our protector, provider, and healer, our fear begins to lose its grip. Faith also gives us the courage to take steps into the unknown, even when we feel unsure. Think of Peter walking on water toward Jesus. As long as he kept his eyes on Jesus, he was able to defy the laws of nature and do the impossible. But when he took his focus off Jesus and looked at the storm, fear took over and he began to sink. This is a powerful picture for us. When we keep our focus on God, we can overcome any fear that comes our way. It's when we shift our focus away from Him that fear starts to control us. Choosing faith over fear doesn't mean we won't experience fear, but it means we don't allow it to control us. It means we acknowledge the fear, but choose to believe in God's power, His presence, and His promises. We choose to trust that He is bigger than anything we face, and that no matter what happens, He is with us, guiding us, and leading us into a future filled with hope. Faith gives us the strength to move forward in confidence, knowing that God is in control. So every time fear tries to rise up, choose faith. Choose to believe that God is faithful, that He is for you, and that He has already equipped you to overcome whatever you face. With God on your side, you can face any challenge with courage and strength, and you can step into the future He has planned for you. One of the most powerful truths we can embrace in our journey of faith is that our best days are ahead of us. This truth is not just a nice saying, it's a promise from God Himself. Too often we get stuck looking at the present moment or even at our past, and we can become discouraged. We may think we've missed our opportunity or that the best things in life have already passed us by, but that is not the case. When we trust in God's ways, we can have the assurance that He is leading us to a future filled with hope, purpose, and incredible blessings. It's easy to look at where we are and feel like we've hit a dead end. Maybe we're facing challenges that seem insurmountable. Or maybe we've been waiting for a breakthrough that hasn't come yet. But here's the thing. God is always working behind the scenes, orchestrating our future and preparing us for the next step in His plan. Sometimes the struggle is part of the preparation for something greater. The Bible assures us in Jeremiah 29:11, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future." When we trust in God's plan for our lives, we can confidently say that the best is yet to come. Our best days aren't determined by what we've experienced in the past. They're not defined by our failures or by the mistakes we've made. They are defined by the amazing future that God has in store for us. No matter how old we are, no matter how many setbacks we face, God's plan for us is still unfolding. Our past doesn't have to dictate our future. Every new day is an opportunity for God to do something incredible in our lives. In Isaiah 43:19, God says, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it?" This is a reminder that God is constantly at work and He's always leading us into something new, something better. When we trust His timing and follow His lead, we can be confident that our best days are ahead of us because He is constantly doing a new thing in our lives. Sometimes it's hard to see this when we're in the middle of a difficult season, but we must remember that God's plans are bigger than we can imagine. Our present circumstances are not the final chapter in our story. God's story for us is still being written, and He has amazing things in store for those who continue to trust Him, even in the tough times. Our best days don't just refer to the material blessings or successes that may come. They also refer to the deeper peace, joy, and fulfillment we experience when we walk closely with God. The best days are the ones where we feel His presence in a new and real way, where we see His provision in unexpected ways, and where we realize that He's been working all along, even when we didn't see it. So when life feels uncertain, or when you feel like you're stuck in a rut, remember this: your best days are ahead of you. Don't let your current circumstances define your future. Trust in God's plan, keep moving forward with faith, and know that He is leading you toward a future filled with hope, purpose, and the kind of blessings you can't even imagine. The best is yet to come. In conclusion, trusting God's ways is about understanding that His plan for our lives is far greater than anything we could imagine. Even when we don't see the full picture, we can be confident that He is working all things together for our good. Whether it's trusting His timing, walking in obedience, enduring challenges, choosing faith over fear, or embracing the future He has for us, we can take comfort in knowing that He is always leading us toward something greater. Remember, God's ways are not our ways, but they are always higher, wiser, and filled with purpose. Delays are not denials, and every challenge we face is an opportunity for growth. When we trust Him completely, we open ourselves up to a future that is full of hope, blessings, and the fulfillment of His promises. No matter where you are today, know this: your best days are ahead of you. Trust in God's plan, embrace His timing, and walk in faith, for He is faithful to lead you to a future that is beyond your wildest dreams. Keep your eyes on Him and trust that His ways are always the right ways, even when the path seems unclear. Your best days are yet to come, and they will be filled with His grace, peace, and blessings. Keep trusting, keep believing, and watch as God unfolds His perfect plan for your life.